Oh, look, he's doing my sync clap for me.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Italy with Hugh Jackman and Ben Affleck.
And an Alfa Romeo Tonale.
Tonale.
Hey!
Carbonara.
Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol Ped. Welcome to Lake Como in Italy, and welcome to the brand new Alfa Romeo Tonale. So yes, what a beautiful backdrop for this video. Now think about it, right now if you walked into an Alfa Romeo showroom, you'd have a choice of just two cars, the Giulia and the Stelvio. And whilst those two cars are fantastic, one of the most competitive and popular segments at the moment is the compact SUV. Whether you like it or loathe it, it's a fact that lots of people are buying them and they just haven't got a car in that segment. And that is exactly where this Tonale fits in. Now, I first saw this car at Festival of Speed several years ago now, when it was in a kind of, pre-production concept phase. And it's now come to market, and I must say it is a handsome, handsome looking thing. It has many of the things that I love most about Alfa Romeo. In fact, one of them is at the very front of the car. So let's talk about the signature front end of this beautiful Tonale. So yeah, let's start at the front of the car, and one of my favourite Alfa Romeo front ends is the 159, similar on the Brera and the Spider with the 3 headlamps at the front. And you can see a lot of inspiration from those cars in the Tonale. And I think with the daytime running lights, when you've got one of these following you behind like we did earlier on today, it's got a lot of road presence. It's a really beautiful looking car. Set off in Montreal green, this press car. I think it shows all the curves and all the balance of the car. There are a couple of different trim levels that we've got here to drive. This particular one has a kind of silver accents around the front grille and splitter. There's one with a black pack, which looks quite mean and aggressive. But yeah, very, very beautiful car. So let's find out a little bit more about the different specification options, engine choices, and more about the new Alfa Romeo Tonale.
Fitted with a range of efficient hybrid engines, the Alfa Romeo Tonale will be available in 2 trim levels for UK drivers, TI and Veloce. There will also be an exclusive Edizione Speciale version of the Tonale for the new model's launch phase. Whilst there is a 130 horsepower version, this will not be coming to the UK market. We will get the 160 horsepower, 48 volt hybrid variable geometry turbo engine. The 1.5 litre petrol engine is paired with a 7-speed Alfa Romeo TCT dual clutch transmission and the 48 volt, 15 kilowatt and 55 Newton meter P2 electric motor. This can propel the wheels even when the engine is turned off, making it possible to travel in electric mode up to 15 kilowatts at low speeds, parking and cruising. The Alfa Romeo Tonale still maintains the performance credentials expected of the brand, capable of 0 to 60 in 8.8 seconds and on to a maximum speed of over 130 miles an hour. The first cars with the 160 horsepower hybrid arrive in the UK in September, with the plug-in hybrid 275 horsepower version arriving in the UK in December 2022.
It is a stunning backdrop, incredibly windy, as a boat zips off onto Lake Como behind me. It's pretty rough out there. Not so sure I'll be wanting to be on a boat today, but I have been driving this car around today. So the car we decided to drive today is the TI specification. This particular car is the 160 horsepower variant, 7-speed dual clutch box. Very, very interesting car to drive. We had a detailed press briefing last night, and one of the things the guys from Alfa Romeo were very keen to point out was that this has to drive like an Alfa Romeo. And if you've ever been behind the wheel of a Giulia or a Stelvio, you'll know that they have this incredibly direct steering, a real sporty feel. Now, don't get me wrong, this is by no means a sports car, 160 horsepower, but it does have a great feel to it when you get to the tight and twisty sections. In terms of practicality, a good sized boot, good sized rear cabin. But the question is, does it drive like an Alfa Romeo? Now, I've been paired up with my good friend Tom Howard while I've been out here today, and earlier on today we were driving around the very tight and twisty hills around Lake Como experiencing this car. So let's see how we got on, shall we? So, out on the open road.
Indeed.
In the Alfa Romeo Tonale. This is the TI.
Top spec.
It is a top spec. 160 horsepower hybrid. Now you've got the normal Alfa Romeo DNA system in here. Like we do in all cars, we just stick it straight in dynamic mode. I think the neutral and A mode in the town driving scenario is great, but when you're out on a bit of road, a bit of flowing road, straight into dynamic. And let's see what this car's got.
Go for it.
Because at the press conference last night, they promised us that this car would drive like an Alfa Romeo.
They basically said that this has come from the same gene pool as Giulia and Stelvio, which of course, quadrifolio editions. This is not a quadrifolio.
No.
Just to point out, it's a 160 horsepower hybrid. So
Yes.
we are not expecting it to be the punchiest, most dynamic thing on earth.
But I'm
However,
gonna go into...
it does corner very flat.
Mate, it corners brilliantly.
Very flat.
And this is a bit more open, flowing road. We've had some quite tight and twisty sections so far. Now, the downside of the TI model is, although I've got I think a 7-speed twin clutch box, I don't have flappy paddles. In the Veloce, which some of the press cars that are on test here, they have the big Alfa Romeo fixed paddles. And I think that would be... You'd quite like that.
Yeah. So Veloce, my understanding, Veloce as standard comes with adjustable suspension.
Yep.
And flappy paddles and big wheels. And the TI, which is obviously top spec but similar price point,
Yeah.
goes without adjustable suspension and paddles, but does have upgraded sound and materials inside.
Mate, you can come again, because I always forget all of those bits.
Well, I'm only remembering what I was told because I genuinely quite fancy one of these in Montreal green.
It's a good colour.
a
And I'll
lovely
tell you
colour.
what, price point wise,
Yeah, I don't know. Are we allowed to share pricing?
I don't know.
Is that top secret?
I think all I'm going to say, it's
Oh no, I think we can share.
yeah,
it.
we can check.
Yeah, we
It's,
can
it's
share it.
less than 40.
Less than 40k will get you. I don't know if it will get you the TI, but it will get you in a Tonale.
Yeah.
Oh, you see, that was flat.
Flat
That
ass,
was
mate.
flat.
Honestly, steering feel, very, very impressive. Because you get in, and again, if those guys watching, if you haven't driven an Alfa Romeo, and it doesn't have to be a quadrifolio, but if you just drive a standard Giulia or a standard Stelvio, the steering on them is fantastic.
Yeah.
They've done, and I guess the big thing, and we had a really interesting press conference last night. The strategy for Alfa Romeo leading up to kind of 2027 is to go completely EV. So we'll see the end of all their petrol cars, and this is a hybrid. The next after this will be a plug-in hybrid version of this, which we think we're going to be invited back out to drive at Bolocco, because that's
So
got...
that will launch in the UK in December.
Yeah.
The 265, 70 horsepower. plug-in
To be
hybrid.
honest, it does kind of need that. This is a little bit... in normal driving for normal people, it's ample.
Yeah.
When you're pushing on, it's not actually... Some hybrids I find have a gearbox that really suffers, especially if it's a CVT type box. This, because it's a twin clutch, you've got the paddles. It's better, but it is a little bit found wanting.
Yeah.
Twisty bends.
Oh, there's a car coming.
Yeah, it's quite narrow, isn't it?
That'll be the indicators.
Yeah,
But,
I brake
come
so
on,
hard.
when you brake so hard. Jesus.
It is quite narrow. I was going to give it the Yahoo down here, but that's probably not. Yahoo. Oh, here we go. Look.
Oh, a hairpin. Holding on.
There's some hero cyclists here, though.
This is
Another
quite a
hairpin.
steep hill. And we did just see a cyclist, no hands, eating a sandwich, which I thought was quite impressive. I've got to say, corner's flat.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
Corner's flat.
It's like it is a kind of Stelvio Giulia love child. Take a little bit of shelter from out there. It's very, very blowy today. Cabin wise, let me just start the car. It's a really nice cabin. There's plenty of things to attract the eye in here. It's a very good driving position. Lovely Alfa Romeo steering wheel. A lot of familiarity if you've driven Stelvio or Giulia before. As I mentioned in the driving, this particular TI variant doesn't have the paddles that you would associate with some of the Alphas I've driven in the past. If you buy the Veloce version, it does. And I think I would really quite like the paddles. The infotainment system is the highest running processor of any car you can buy. It's got a really great range of features. It is a bit fiddly. There's a lot of touch screen. I guess you would get used to asking Alexa to do stuff for you. But all in all, a very nice cabin. The dash here kind of has this lovely illuminated backlit feel. And it's really nice. I'd like to option a pan roof if I was buying one for myself. But all in all, the interior of the car, really very nice indeed. Well, it's not often I get chauffeured by Ben Affleck.
It's not often that Wolverine has made himself comfortable in the back of my Alfa Romeo Tonale.
I know. So I thought I'd take the opportunity to jump in the back and see what it's like. And actually, I've got very long legs. It's not massive amounts of room in here, but I could put that seat forward and free up quite a bit of space, I'm sure. But it is nice. I thought we might just have a quick chat through the spec a little bit. Some interesting things. 1.5 hybrid engine. We kind of mentioned that already in voiceover. Top speed 210 kilometers an hour. 0 to 100 k's an hour in 8.8 seconds. Brakes good, aren't they, mate?
Brakes are alright. I'm quite enjoying driving it. I mean, it's a very pleasant place to spend time. Oh, a cafe.
And then combined cycle of 6.3 litres per 100 kilometre.
I have zero idea what that means.
Alexa, how much is 6.3 litres per 100 kilometre in miles per gallon?
Here's something I found on the web. According to wikipedia.org, EPA ratings are 31 miles per US gallon, 7.6 litres / 100 kilometers, 37 miles per gallon in, for city, and 37 miles per US gallon, 6.4 litres / 100 kilometers, 44 miles per gallon.
Alexa, be quiet. That didn't work very well, did it?
Alexa, thank you very much for filling my sat-nav screen with 7 lines of text.
Yes.
That's very clever, though.
Sorry, I don't know that one.
Don't worry, darling, it's fine.
So one of the things about this car is it's got Alexa, and you might think that's a bit of a gimmick, and I've been in Cars Week and asked Google and those types of things. But in all seriousness, in the press conference last night, they made quite a big deal about being able to link the car with your life. You've got an app that you can do stuff remotely with the car. So you could, for example, they gave the example last night of have something delivered to the car, and you could unlock the boot and let the delivery person put the parcel in the boot or whatever. And you can. That one's going a different place to us. They go back.
I'm actually following a car, not the sat-nav, but now I just look like a complete spanner. Because I'm now following them
going that
the
way.
right way.
Yeah, there's a sat nav screen there, Tom.
Anyway,
you just follow. So you can ask Alexa anything.
Oh, you feel the power! That's 160 megavolts or something.
Yeah,
Horsepower.
megavolts.
Yeah.
Is that a new?
Well,
But yeah, so the infotainment system apparently has got the highest or fastest speed processor of any system available in any manufacturer.
it's quick.
It's quick. It's
Very app heavy.
It's very app heavy and a bit fiddly.
Yeah, but like every other touchscreen, I guess they're all. Yeah. If you're driving along, they're always hard when your arm is outstretched.
Yeah. But I guess the argument would be you would talk to it and get it to do stuff.
Yeah. There we are.
Alexa, tell me a joke.
What do you call a grizzly with no teeth? A gummy bear.
Oh.
I was going to say anything you like. It's not going to bite you.
Yeah. It is
Now,
a big screen.
Here's a question. Did you understand the NFT thing? So,
Right, yeah.
this is the first ever car with an NFT.
Do you know what NFT stands for?
It's about blockchain technology, isn't it?
Non-fungible token.
That's the one. So basically, the car, you create a blockchain, and as the car evolves, going through servicing, through upgrades, that's all put into this NFT, and it's effectively a digital certificate of your car. So when you come to sell the car, instead of having a big folder full of, service receipts and stamps, and you just have an NFT.
And it's also proof of ownership. So should you come to sell it, then you've got an NFT that you can obviously have, keep, whatever people want to do with it. I mean, it's I don't know. Are they ahead of the curve, or is it a gimmick?
The first car to have it. What would be interesting to me is how many buyers will really understand what it does. It's quite a difficult thing to get your head around. Yeah. I'm in technology, and I've had NFTs explained to me about 50 times, and I still don't get it completely. But it's quite cool.
And those that are into it, you can trade it between wallets as well. I'm told.
Yeah, exactly. So there are some cool things. Anyway, so Karen, let's go and find a coffee shop, shall we?
Definitely. Let's go and find a coffee shop. I'm warming up for a croissant as well. I know they're French, but a pain au chocolat, an Italian pain au chocolat would go down nicely right now.
Hey!
Ciao.
So what are my final impressions of the Alfa Romeo Tonale? Well, I certainly feel like I've embraced la dolce vita today, driving around the roads around Lake Como in such a beautiful part of Italy in a beautiful Italian car. It really has got the attention, I think, because it's so new. Even in here in Italy, they're not a common car you see on the road, so we've had a lot of attention from the locals, lots of people stopping and taking photographs and so on. And I think styling-wise from the outside, I think it's a beautiful looking car. The front end, with those daytime running lights, really is very striking. The rear end, when the lights are on, it's very, very obviously an Alfa Romeo. With the lights off, it has a kind of almost a Macan-esque look to it. But I think outside, very nice styling. In terms of the driving and the driving dynamics, it's got a lovely feel to it. The steering has a great feel. It's very good through the corners, very flat, really nice responsive steering, responsive handling. The 160 horsepower hybrid version that is behind me, for me personally, it's not quite got enough oomph. I can imagine for the vast majority of people who are going to be looking to buy that car for city driving, for the school run, for driving the family from A to B, it's more than enough, I am sure, and it will perform really good on the MPG as well. I think for me, I'm looking forward later in this year to see the plug-in hybrid version with a little bit more go and a little bit more oomph, and I think for me that will be even more Alfa Romeo. I've always enjoyed the faster versions of the Giulia and the Stelvio. As I mentioned in the film, this is almost like, for me, the love child of the Giulia and the Stelvio. It has a lot of the driving characteristics of the Giulia with the slightly bigger profile, a kind of SUV format of the Stelvio. Really, really nice. I would love to know what you think of the new Tonale. Put it in the comments below. Big thanks to Alfa Romeo for bringing us out here to such a beautiful part of the world. But I hope you enjoyed that one. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Comments below are always welcome, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Petrol Ped for plenty more content to come, and I'll see you on the next film. But for now, I think I'm going to go and find an espresso and think back on a really cool day with the Alfa Romeo Tonale. See you on the next film, guys. You take care. Drive safe.